1,600 displaced by floods in River State. On the foreign scene, Israeli forces push into Gaza City as U.S. President set to address the UN. I'm Ifechukwu Muonyili with the news. Now, the River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara says his visit to President Bola Tinubu was to seek guidance on how to prevent further crisis in the state. The governor spoke to journalists after a closed-door meeting with the president at the presidential villa in Abuja on Monday night. The meeting comes just days after Governor Fubara resumed office following a 6-month state of emergency in River State.
Ideally, it's proper for me to see Mr. President, to tell him that I'm back and I've also resumed my responsibility as the governor of River State. It's not much, it's father-son discussion, telling him thank you and the areas where, if at all, there should be any issue, for him to guide me properly so we don't be in any situation that will bring crisis again. That's all. We have made peace. Fubara and his principal are working together.
Earlier, before traveling to Abuja to meet with the president, Governor Fubara hosted the management of the Nigeria Port Authority, where he lamented the underutilization of the ports in River State.
Nigerian Ports Authority, not even waiting for us to call them to order, already understands this need to collaborate with government. I want to thank you. And look at us in River State. We are blessed. The Ports Authority, the one we have here in Port Harcourt, and the one we have. But the only issue is underutilization. I would like us, if it means to have another round of meeting, we can work out whatever it is, issues we're having, so that we can put these two ports to good use.
The governor also promised to tackle the challenges of insecurity, flooding, illegal parking along the road, among other needs highlighted by the chairman of the board of the NPA.
The road is a federal road, so I can't do anything about it. It's just to appeal continuously the federal government. But on the issue of the other activities along the road, now that we have a full government, we'll talk to the local government chairmen that are there and also set up some committees that can put those things in place. Security issues, one of the things we can do is to have a befitting police station there. On the issue of the flooding, if the roads are in order, the channels are properly done, those flooding issues will just so.
In his remark earlier, the chairman of the board of the NPA, Senator Adedayo Adeye, listed the needs of the NPA. He also thanked the governor for receiving them. Well, in another development, the Deputy Governor of River State, Professor Ngozi Odo, has urged lawmakers from the ECOWAS Parliament to ensure their deliberations focus on how artificial intelligence can be harnessed to benefit the people of the sub-region. The Deputy Governor, who represented the governor, said this at the opening of the second 2025 Extraordinary Parliamentary Seminar in Port Harcourt.
The AI for governance that works in one country may not necessarily work in another country unless it is domesticated to take care of some differences. Your deliberations over the coming days will likely influence how African parliamentarians navigate the delicate balance between embracing AI's transformative potential and preserving the human-centered values that anchor democratic government.
Also addressing participants, the Speaker of the River State House of Assembly, Martin Amehule, pledged that the Assembly will translate the gains of the session into good laws for the benefit of the state.
The legislature at the sub-national level much more closer to the people when compared to the National Assembly. We believe that this particular section will be another opportunity for this Parliament to come up with resolutions that will impact heavily on the good people, not only Nigeria but the entire West African region. Those of us in the River State House of Assembly will watch closely what we'll be doing while we are here in River State and see what we can learn from what is going to happen here so that we can improve on what will also do here at sub-national level.
The Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Haja Ibrahim, assured that lawmakers in the sub-region will continue to make laws that strengthen unity and promote justice. She explained that the Port Harcourt session is designed to inspire forward-thinking ethical governance and meaningful budget debate, while preparing ECOWAS lawmakers to be vigilant and people-focused leaders for a stronger, more peaceful region. Now, earlier, the first Deputy Speaker and leader of the Nigeria delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament, Senator Barau Jibrin, explained the purpose of the seminar and why Port Harcourt was chosen as the host city.
But West Africa, challenge is not whether AI will transform our societies, but how we as leaders, policymakers, and parliamentarians will guide that transformation to ensure it strengthens democratic governance, deepens integration, and improves the lives of our citizens. Parliament is the heartbeat of democracy. By leveraging AI, we can enhance legislative drafting, improve the quality and timeliness of oversight functions, and broaden citizen engagement in policy making.
The seminar, which has drawn lawmakers from across West Africa, is focusing on ethical governance and development. In other news, a Lagos political analyst, Libras Oshoma, says the decision of the Rivers State House of Assembly to review how money was spent during the 6 months of emergency rule is no different from probing President Bola Tinubu and the National Assembly. Mr. Oshoma made this known in an interview with correspondent Sir Biodowari on the implication of the move.
When the state of emergency was declared, legally speaking, it is the president that was now governing Rivers State through an administrator. In compliance with Section 11, the National Assembly makes laws for the state. Part of it was the appropriation law for the state. So any investigation that is being conducted at this time, you can say that investigation certainly is investigating the conduct of the president in the affairs of the state for that 6 months, because the administrator reports directly to the president.
He argues that the lawmakers' action will not yield any result since they have already pledged full support to the president.
So if you look at it altruistically, you will say fantastic. It is good to look at the books, how much was spent, how much was budgeted, was money properly utilized. But in the long run, you ask yourself, these people who are investigating the affairs of the president through an administrator, these people are too deep in bed with the president for any good thing to come out of that investigation.
The lawyer adds that he only hopes the Assembly's decision is not a veiled attempt to probe government spending, while the political crisis in the state remains unresolved. Away from that, the acting director of the Center for Advanced Law Research at Rivers State University, Professor Chukwucheta Emejuru, says oil-producing communities could get a higher share of the derivation fund if sensitization on the benefits of the Petroleum Industry Act is sustained. He made this point in Port Harcourt at a 2-day workshop on host community development provisions of the Act, organized by the Center for Advanced Law Research and F1 Team Associate.
Right from the time the PIA Act was in the National Assembly, that protestation was there. But finally, they agreed that it's going to be 3%. But we know that constitutions can be amended. As time goes on, with what is happening with our sensitization exercise, our representatives at the National Assembly will be able to seek for more. The purpose here is to let communities know their rights as they are embedded in the law. So bring to their attention the benefits the communities are supposed to get from the provisions of the law, and now galvanize into action to drag for what is agreeable to them.
The lead consultant of F1 Team Associate, Jude Ndubisi, says a deeper understanding of the Act's provisions will help improve the socio-economic development of host communities.
The Petroleum Industry Act itself is a move to better the lives of people. So the more you understand about it, the more you work towards ensuring that the provisions of the law are understood by people. These oil facilities are not in urban centers. They're in the local areas, and the closest people to them there are the local governments. The whole idea is to explain to people at the local government council level the provisions of Petroleum Industry Act, which actually is a revolutionary legislation that has brought a lot of changes in the oil and gas ecosystem.
Correspondent Nanda Samwala reports that the event featured panel discussions, interactive sessions and lectures with participants including stakeholders from all 23 local government areas of Rivers State, among them serving council chairman. To security matters now, the Rivers State Police Command says its operatives have arrested 3 suspected kidnappers linked to the abduction of Humphrey Nwabara, a resident of Igurutali, and recovered several dangerous weapons. Police spokesperson Superintendent Grace Iringikoko says operatives of the Anti-Cultism Unit Emoha Annex swung into action after receiving a distress report on August 26, 2025. She identified a suspect as 20-year-old Hassan Mohammed from Borno State, 25-year-old Bello Abubakar from Sokoto State, and Yusuf Ahmed from Bauchi State, who is 23 years old. Now, the police spokesperson adds that they were arrested on September 19 in Obiabo and Ikwere local government areas. The suspects reportedly confessed to multiple kidnappings, including the abduction of Muonyili Jude and Wabwizi Nchukube on September 24th, from whom they collected 6.9 million naira ransom before killing Ifechukwu. The police says items recovered from the suspects include a G3 rifle, a magazine, 3 short daggers, a jackknife, a stainless short knife, and a phone belonging to one of the victims. The Rivers State Commissioner of Police, Olubenga Adewaju, praised the operatives for their effort and urged residents to report suspicious activities. Now, he also said investigations are ongoing to track down fleeing members of the gang and recover more weapons. Still to come, NEMA says more than 20,000 people have been affected by floods in Rivers State, with about 9,600 displaced from their homes. Stay with us.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
The new date was announced in an internal memo signed by the Chief of Staff to the Senate President Chinedu Akubweze. The notice also indicates that the Senate has extended its annual recess by another 2 weeks. The House of Representatives has postponed its planned resumption of plenary sessions by 2 weeks, moving the date from Tuesday, September 23rd to Tuesday, October 7, 2025. In an internal memorandum to lawmakers, Clerk of the House, Mr. Yahaya Danzaria, conveyed the adjustment. No official reason was given for the postponement. In the meantime, the Senate has unsealed the 205 office of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. The office located at the Senate wing was unsealed by the Sergeant of Arms of the National Assembly, along with combined personnel of security agents. With this development, the National Assembly has now granted the suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan access to her office and the National Assembly premises. Now, still on matters in the National Assembly, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan has described the criminal defamation charges filed against her by the federal government as a brazen act of political persecution and an exhibition of double standard by the federal government. In a preliminary objection seeking the dismissal of the 6 counts filed against her by the Attorney General of the Federation, the Kogi senator said, while the federal government was quick to file charges against her based on the complaint of the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, the same government ignored her own earlier petitions against Akpabio. Recall that the charges were filed under the Cybercrimes Prohibition, Prevention, etc. Amendment Act 2024, and it followed a petitions by Akpabio and former governor of Kogi State Yahaya Bello over remarks she allegedly made during a public address and a television interview. Now she was granted bail on self-recognition after pleading not guilty. To environmental story now. About 22,000 residents of River State have been affected by flood. 9,600 of them have been forced from their homes. This is according to the latest figures from the National Emergency Management Agency, which show that at least 232 people have died nationwide, 121,000 displaced, and more than 339,000 others have suffered losses as of September 20. Adamawa and Lagos are among the worst affected states. In Adamawa, nearly 58,000 people were impacted, with over 23,000 displaced, 438 injured, and 59 killed. More than 9,000 hectares of farmlands were also destroyed. Lagos recorded a similar toll, with over 57,000 residents affected, 3,600 displaced, and 3,200 houses damaged. The agency said floods damaged over 42,000 houses and destroyed more than 48,000 hectares of farmland. NEMA also called for urgent supply of food, shelter, health services, water and sanitation and livelihood support, adding that response efforts are being slowed by resource shortages, inaccessible communities, security risks, and in some cases, resistance from affected communities. The United States mission in Nigeria has declared that corrupt, high-profile Nigerian officials will be denied entry into the U.S. In a post on X, the mission reiterated commitment to fighting corruption, stressing that accountability applies to all, regardless of status. In businessman Femi Otedola has advised the Depot and Petroleum Product Marketers Association of Nigeria to restructure and consider buying over the Port Harcourt refinery to stay relevant in the downstream business instead of resisting progress. His advice comes amid disputes between the oil marketers and Dangote refinery. He said the oil marketers must stop clinging to outdated privileges and focus on a new era built on self-sufficiency, transparency, and sustainable value creation. In entertainment, singer Shali Poppy has advised men to avoid going into relationships. The singer, who described relationships as a financial trap, also tagged marriage as a financial mistake, especially for those from modest backgrounds. He advised men to live within their means. And now in sports, Ousmane Dembele's Ballon d'Or victory has sparked mixed reactions. Members of the Cool Wazobia Info Kids FM sports gang shared their views on whether Dembele truly deserved the award or if it should have gone to Lamine Yamal. Here's what they had to say.
The Ballon d'Or is awarded based on three main criteria: individual performance, decisiveness, and impressive character. Then you have team performance and achievement. Then you have class and fair play. If we are going to be truthful to ourselves, we know that one person has exhibited all these characteristics in this past season, and it is Ousmane Dembele. He has 5 major trophies this season. Nobody comes close. Well, Yamal is a good player, but I think what he got what he deserved.
Ousmane Dembele deserved the award last night because last season he had a spectacular season in the French Ligue 1 and the other domestic competition in France. Goals that he scored contributed to his club Paris Saint-Germain winning on all fronts.
Yeah, I think on the overall balance, Dembele deserved the Ballon d'Or he won on Monday night. Statistically, he performed better in terms of goals and assists, and he also won more of the competitions compared to Lamine Yamal.
Now join the sports gang later this evening from 7 p.m. for more discussion on this and other trending sports stories. On the foreign scene, Israeli forces are continuing their ground offensive to fully occupy Gaza City, with witnesses reporting that tanks have advanced into the city center from the north and south. It comes as U.S. President Donald Trump will address the UN General Assembly today, the first time he attends the general debate since 2020. Among the topics he could discuss is the decision by several countries to recognize Palestinian statehood in recent days, a move the U.S. opposes. Now, on Monday, France announced formal recognition of the state of Palestine, joining the UK, Australia, Canada, and Portugal.
And now, we're bringing... This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
That's a wrap on the news this afternoon, but before we go, here are the major headlines. We told you that the River State Governor Similaya Fubara said his visit to President Tinubu was aimed at sustaining the peace in the state. We reported that the River State Police Command has arrested 3 people over the abduction of Ikuruta resident. You heard that the Senate has unsealed Senator Natasha's office and postponed its resumption. We told you that NEMA said over 20,000 people have so far been affected by floods in River State, while 9,600 others have been displaced from their homes. On the foreign scene, you heard Israeli forces are now pushing into Gaza City as U.S. President prepares to address the UN. The news was edited by Onyeka Chinwosu. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Ifechukwu Muonyili. Many thanks for listening.